but I saw a couple of, national writers have them taken wide receiver, like Matthew Golden, Tetro McMillan. Now, I never saw Emeka Egbuka, but I saw a couple wide receivers. And I'm like, there's no way they're going to pick a wide receiver, right?
Yeah.
And I was going back and forth with Scott, and even Scott, you were like, hey, like, I kind of think it's Ezaraku. Obviously, you guys wrote that, and I thought that as well. But, man, Jason just gravitating towards good football players, man. It was not the draft that I thought the Buccaneers would have. But now that you look at the total haul, it's hard to think this is anything less than like a B+ grade, right? I mean, like if you want to sit here and say like, all right, well, they didn't really hit linebacker and wide receiver was sort of a luxury pick in the first round. Like I gave it a B+ for PFF, but people who would argue it's an A-, like I get nothing against you. Maybe I'm just a little shell shocked that that they ended up taking a wide receiver at number 19, but Jason drafts good players. He's one of the best general managers in the NFL. I have long said, and I continue to retweet my tweet when I say, like, if Jason Light's not in your top 3 GM list, the list is wrong because he is. And he identifies really good football players. And I think all of these guys are going to be Buccaneers for a while.
Jason Light was stealthy again this year, and it paid off. This team got really, really good player for now and for later.
I think that it was Jason who said this. I can't remember if it was him or maybe another general manager whose pre-draft press conference that I was listening to. They were saying that, some teams draft off of their top 30, like religiously, right? I mean, if they don't have them in it for a top 30, it basically means that they're going to be off their board. But again, I can't remember if this was Jason or somebody else said, well, sometimes you don't feel like you have to bring a guy in for a top 30, right? Yeah. Some teams use top 30s to sort of like determine like they'll be on the fence about a guy, right? They only use their top 30 visits if they're sort of on the fence about him, not necessarily like, oh, let's bring this guy in. We already love him. Let's give him a free steak dinner at Burns, right? It's like some GMs like do it a little bit differently. And very clearly the Buccaneers are one of those teams where it's like, okay, well, if we do our background on a player, if we ask the Ohio State coaches and the Ohio State people about him, and if we interview him at the combine and we absolutely love him, there you go. Why do we need to have him in for a top 30? We already know that we love the guy. So it's just always fun to see how general managers use different tools that they have throughout draft season to sort of build their draft board. Because again, like it was one that I didn't think was on. And, to your point, I think that Denver made a good selection in Jahdae Barron at number 20, but I really do wonder if Egbuka was their guy. I wonder if Egbuka would have gone one pick later, because to me, he was perfect for what Denver really wanted. He's a reliable receiver. He could play inside and out. You could even use him on jet sweeps and screens and things like that. And I think Sean Payton would have absolutely loved this guy. So if he doesn't go 19, I think he would have gone 20 to the Denver Broncos. Yeah, it just brings up sort of an interesting conversation that I'm sure you guys have had, and I'm sure that you had after night one is, what do we think of this wide receiver room? And I think that the reservation that I have about the Emeka Egbuka pick isn't that I don't love the player. I think he's going to be a phenomenal football player, and I think he's going to be a pro for a long time. But how much longer do they think Mike Evans is going to play? Because he's on the last year of his contract. Now, he's got a void year after this that has a good chunk of change to it. So in theory, you could turn that into a real year of the contract, and it wouldn't really be that different on the cap of sort of what he has.
And we've seen them do this with Rondé Barber in his twilight, with Levante David. You want to play? You do? Great. We want you back for another year. Let's do another year. Right.
Yeah. So, and I don't know how you guys feel about this, but when Mike came back from his hamstring injury, he looked like younger than I thought he had in years. I think he was
had like a month off, really, outside of rehab, he
was heavily motivated for the 1,000-yard season. But man, I mean, the version of Mike they got this year looked like a player who's got at least 2 more years left in the tank. Chris, they signed him to the 3-year deal. Essentially, it's a 2-year deal with a club option because they can get out of it, and it's not that big of a deal after the 3rd year. But I thought McMillan was fine, as a later drafted guy who'd be a wide receiver 3 for them. And so there's no question about it. Like, not that this takes away from it being a good pick, but it was a luxury pick. They've got 2 studs that they like, wide receiver 1 and wide receiver 2. Chris, there's no guarantee coming back from the injury, but it felt like a luxury pick for them. But man, is this offense going to potentially just be deadly to score a lot of points this season with weapons like that to throw to. What the Bucs like to do, I mean, they are all their wide receivers to be weapons in basically every single way. And he's also a fantastic blocker. We know that, if he can, if they want to put him in condensed sets towards the line of scrimmage, they know that he'll be a great blocker for them. And we know that Tampa gravitates towards that as well. They're very much a team that's, hey, no block, no rock, as a lot of wide receivers say coming from college. And so Emeka Egbuka is that kind of guy.
So when everything's on the line, it's still going to be Mike and Chris. But maybe because of the age of where Mike is at, maybe you limit his reps a little bit more when you can, because you have this luxury of Egbuka. And, we'll see what happens with Tess Johnson too.
Yeah, I mean, certainly now you can. I don't know if you had to do that, but again, there are thoughts and feelings and game plans within the building that maybe we don't know of. Maybe it is that. Like maybe it is something where it's like, hey, Mike, because he's what, 32?
He'll be 32.
He'll be 32 on
32 this summer.
August. Yeah.
So I mean, like we're in a situation where they might be able to go to Mike and be like, hey, look, you're still the alpha. You're still our guy. You're still
going to get 1,000 yards.
Yeah.
But we're still going to get you the 1,000 yards. But we have a deep enough receiver room to where you don't have to be as exhausted, and you can, all of you guys can stay a little bit more fresh. Again, it's not the pick that I thought they would make, but now that they made it, you go, okay, if you take away what are they going to do at linebacker? They could have gone with a corner. They could have gone with a pass rusher. Like if you put all that to the side and you just look at the positives of what drafting Emeka Egbuka can do for you, they're numerous. There's a lot of positives. This was not a reckless pick. I think that it has multiple value for them.
So what you're saying is maybe this Jason Licht's onto something. Maybe he's a pretty good drafter, right?
He's not bad. I would say that he's not bad. I think that, again, like if your general manager top 3 list does not include Jason Licht, it's wrong. Yeah. It's wrong. Yeah. The list is wrong. That's all I'll say. You could debate. I don't care. We could debate forever the other 2 in the list. And it doesn't have to be here's 1, here's 2, here's 3. Often it's in tiers. All I'm saying is if the top 3, Jason Licht's not in one of the names, it's wrong.
Amen, brother. Yeah.
It feels a little bit better, though, when you put out a meme and it's in regards to Jason Licht's draft class. I mean, we all saw the cigar smoking and everything like that. It hits home a little more.
Yeah. He makes it very easy for me to fire off incredible memes because they're always just doing something great. So he makes it very easy for me. So I appreciate Jason for that.